The natural reality cannot be described. It's like a mystery. In normal terms, there's no words that can express what the natural reality is like. And the other reality is the separate reality. The separate reality is an illusory state that the self lives in. The self, or the I, or what I call me. Me lives in an illusory reality. It grows up and dreams this reality. It lives in this dreamt reality. But as far as the self or the me is concerned, that reality is absolutely real. I am real. I am a real person. This is what arises. I am a real person. I live in a real story. I was born, I will live, and I will die. And that's my story, the story of me. And I have learned that I have free will and choice to influence that story on my own. Also, that story has things arise in that story which I believe are true. They are real for me. What's real for me in that story is good and evil, above and below, inner and outer. Life is happening. What's real for me is that everything that is happening in my life is separate to me. I'm in here, and life is out there happening to me. And even the feelings that I have in my own body are somehow happening to a me in here. There's something that's happening to me. So everything, the experience for me is that everything is separate. Most people in the world wouldn't necessarily say what I'm saying here, but that's the experience of the separate reality. The experience is of separation. So the self or the me never sees the sky or a tree or another person as they naturally are. It sees the sky or a tree or another person as something that is separate. So in that dream reality, that dreamt reality, which seems absolutely real, everything is dual, everything is subject-object. I'm the subject and everything else that's happening is the object. So there's a constant living in that state of separation. And in some way or other, that is unsatisfactory, it's disturbing, it's unsatisfactory, it's not satisfying, it's dissatisfying. That state of being separate from everyone. Somehow it's out there, I'm in here, everything else is out there happening to me. And so what arises is, for a lot of people, for most people, they live in that and try and do the best they can with it. So what you see in the world is people trying to satisfy a state of lack, loss, a state of nothing's quite good enough, but I'm going to make it as good as I can, with lots of money, lots of power, lots of women, which I always prefer.
I vote for Aaron.
and all different ways in which the me tries to satisfy a sense of loss. It may not be recognised as a sense of loss, but subtly it's like me goes around with a shopping basket all the time in its life, and there's a hole in the bottom of it, but it can never be. Now, for some people, there's a sense, some people are sensitive about the feeling that this isn't it, this is not it, this is not really satisfying, this is not fulfilling. So I must learn how to find that fulfillment. because I've been brought up to learn how to do things. This is all in the dream story. All in the dream story, the me grows up and comes to believe that it has to learn how to make its life better. So, also, I now have to find fulfillment through learning what to do and how I can be worthy of what I really long for. So I could become a Christian or a Buddhist. I could join a religion. And then I would get a list of things to do, how to become a good Christian. Or I could go to a therapist. Now, these days, very intelligent way of feeling better about myself. I could become an integrated person. But to become an integrated person, I also get a list. Forgive your mother. Accept your feelings. Honour your anger. Or I could go to a teacher of enlightenment. Enlightenment sounds really good. This could be the answer to my... So I go to an enlightenment teacher, and the teacher will tell me to meditate, be peaceful, sing mantras, self-inquire, or pay me a lot of money. So there's always a list of things, and there's always the sense that in some way or other, me, the self, has to change, become better, become more open, become more peaceful, whatever it is. But somewhere in all of that teaching is the idea that me has to change. Me has to become worthy of fulfillment in some way or other. And so what we're sharing here is the possibility that that separate reality, which seems to be real to the individual, is actually absolutely illusory. It's just an energy. It's energy which is free and boundless, which has taken up the form of separation. It pretends to be separate, and within the body there's an energy that seems to have a self in it, there's a self that arises. And so what we're proposing here is that whole creation of the self, that whole identity, that whole idea of having free will and choice, that whole idea of being in a story which can be made better is totally and utterly illusory. It's just completely illusory. It's a dream which has no reality of any kind at all. And the other thing that we're going to share together, verbally together, well, first of all we're going to share the way that me seems to take form and how it arises and the experience of being me and what that's like. And also at the same time we're sharing the possibility that every attempt that me makes to make itself story better or to find fulfillment is wonderfully, absolutely, completely futile. Because, and the reason that may be discovered or recognised is that the me reality, the experience of me, is in a circle. It's in a finite circle. It can't get out of that circle because the only place that me can exist, the only place that me can arise and happen is in separation. In fact, me is separation. Me is separation. Me is seeking wholeness. Me can do nothing else other than be separate and seek that which it longs for. And so it may arise the recognition that that whole idea that me can find fulfillment is utterly futile. And then what seems to come out of that, what seems to come out possibly of that communication, but within the whole, is a recognition that actually really what we're talking about is purely energetic. It's got nothing to do with understanding something and then moving to another place of understanding. It's actually energetic. Because as far as the own secret is concerned, separation is a contracted energy. It's just energy which is boundless, appearing to be contracted, and in some way or other, when there's an opening to the possibility that what me is looking for it can never find, and that there's a possibility that there's something beyond me, there's something beyond belief, there's something beyond understanding. then it's possible that that contracted energy can simply blossom, open out and melt back into the whole.